fuck? Sorry, what the fuck? Jesus Christ, man, I was not ready for that. I woke up to see my phone with a million notifications from Woj on Twitter and about 50 text messages from my co-host Mojo99. Those texts were mostly from the fact that me and him both said that the Clippers were not going to get Kawhi in the podcast we just recorded. Speaking of that, the podcast will be out tomorrow. Have to get it out before what this video is talking about becomes irrelevant. And what this video is talking about is the possibility of Russell Westbrook being traded. Well, actually, the title might say something along the lines of, will Russell Westbrook be traded? But the answer to that question is yes. No shit, they should trade him. Danilo Gallinari is not a Paul George replacement. That might not be the title, I don't know. But yes, the OKC Thunder, after trading Paul George, definitely need to move Russell Westbrook. Moving an MVP candidate in the middle of his prime with 2 years left on his deal is a pretty clear sign of a rebuild. So sorry Thunder fans, this whole thing is burning to the ground. If you want to hear my thoughts on all of this craziness from the Raptors and the Clippers perspective, that will be on the podcast. So there's some incentive to go check it out. But the Paul George trade is a clear sign that the OKC Thunder are cleaning house. Russ is gone, Adams is gone, and I'm guessing Jeremy Grant is going to be a part of either of those trade packages. Dennis Schroeder is probably gone as well. Basically, the whole damn team is gone outside of Terrence Ferguson and Hamidou Diallo. They got a hefty haul back for Paul George. 5 first-round picks, 2 pick swaps, as well as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Danilo Gallinari, who is a trading chip. So it's a solid building block, and Shai going to OKC means they are probably not planning on trading for a point guard. Them not trading for Landry Shamet is an L, but whatever. So basically, any position besides for point guard is open. So let's talk about what the Thunder could get for Russell Westbrook.
Rebound. Save. Absolutely incredibly with the acrobatic alley-oop.
So there are a few teams that I think are a decent fit with Westbrook, but there are a couple requirements that come with him. It needs to be a team that needs a starting point guard, or at the very least could use an upgrade, that either has some draft assets or a young player or two. So here are the teams in that criteria: the Suns, the Magic, the Heat, the Mavericks, the Timberwolves, the Spurs, and I have a 3-team trade involving the Bucks and the Rockets. Some of these teams have better cases than others and better trades than others. Now, I have been pretty mean to Russell Westbrook in the past. If you've looked at my channel's enemy list, Russell Westbrook stans are pretty much enemy number 1. But to be nice to the guy, I just feel bad for him. I mean, he's got to have some major abandonment issues at this point. First Durant leaves, and then they get Paul George. They become great friends. They have a whole party about him re-signing, talking about unfinished business, and then he leaves after just 2 years. So I do feel bad for the guy. However, to be mean again, I don't think most of these teams would be doing themselves a favor by trading for Russell Westbrook, because I really don't think he helps your team win. And because of that, I really wouldn't like to give up young assets or picks in exchange for him, with maybe some exceptions. He's also making a shit ton of money, so whoever trades for him is trading for a $40 million a year contract for a couple of years. And after last year's playoffs, as well as some recent speculation as to how good he really is, and the money, don't expect a crazy amount of value back for him. And because of these circumstances, I personally wouldn't make most of these trades. However, that is just my opinion on Russell Westbrook. Other teams may feel differently, and they will pursue a Russell Westbrook trade. So even if I don't personally like the trade, that doesn't mean it's not likely or very possible to happen. But based on how other teams in the league feel about him and the general consensus around the NBA that he is a borderline superstar level player, based on how other people feel, generally, not me, so my anti-Westbrook bias is not a part of this. So with that said, let's talk about the teams that could trade for him. Also, one last thing, because of Westbrook's salary, the Thunder will 100% be getting back a bad contract or 2 for the sake of making the deals work. So for this first trade, I want to talk about my 3-team trade idea, and just as a, warning, this is a little crazy, but most 3-team trade proposals end up being that. The trade would essentially be Russell Westbrook to the Bucks, Chris Middleton to the Rockets, and Eric Bledsoe, Eric Gordon, Clint Capella, and DJ Wilson, as well as a few firsts, to the OKC Thunder. Moving Bledsoe and Middleton is enough cap space for the Bucks, and Eric Gordon as well as Clint Capella make around $32-ish million a year, which just squeezes Middleton under the salary cap table, or it might be just slightly off, in which case the Rockets can send a scrub player making like $1 million a year to the Bucks. So for the Bucks, I really think there's one reason and one reason only for making this trade. It is to put a superstar next to Giannis. My video on Monday will be about the Bulls potentially getting Giannis in 2021, and the whole reason for me thinking that that is possible, and strong emphasis on the word possible there, is because I think that this Bucks team has hit its ceiling, and I don't think there is enough help around Giannis for him to stay, unless he does it out of pure loyalty, which is possible. So getting Russ tells Giannis that, hey, we're gonna go get you some star players. While I personally don't like Russ or the fit because the shooting is awful, it's not about my opinion. For the Rockets, this is essentially a makeup for them not being able to sign and trade for Jimmy Butler. Middleton does what Butler does, just not quite as well, so you get Middleton while giving up Gordon and Clint. Middleton is an upgrade over Gordon, and Clint was so bad in last year's playoffs that I think losing him isn't a huge deal. And they've been trying to move him anyways. Hopefully you find a starting caliber center somewhere. I would probably throw a contract at Richaun Holmes with what cap space you do have, maybe a mid-level exception. However, I'm pretty sure the Suns would match it. But it's a solid 4 of CP3, Harden, Middleton, and PJ Tucker. That's really good. And for OKC, Gordon and Bledsoe probably get flipped for other assets. Maybe not Bledsoe because his contract is terrible. And besides for that, they get a couple of firsts. Capella is a young center, even though I have a lower opinion of him. He's still an asset and a Steven Adams replacement, and DJ Wilson has potential as a versatile 4. So that's the crazy idea I had. I'm very doubtful that it happens or anything close to it, but ironically enough with that, the Bucks would end up with $10 million in cap space. Now let's move on to the normal trades. The Suns could send Ricky Rubio, Mikal Bridges, Kelly Oubre Jr., and a protected first. The Suns get a good point guard, and the Thunder get 2 good young wings. I don't think the Suns lose a lot because at this point, trying to build this team traditionally has gone nowhere, so I don't know, try some weird shit. For the T-Wolves, this would be a Wiggins for Westbrook swap. I wouldn't do this if I'm OKC, but if the trade market for Russ is that bad, then I guess it's not awful. Send 2 firsts to OKC as well to make up for Andrew's garbageness. For the Dallas Mavericks, send Jalen Brunson, Justin Jackson, and Dwight Powell to the Thunder, as well as Tim Hardaway Jr. for the salaries. I don't know if this trade can happen though, because if I'm the Thunder, I do not take this deal without getting a first-round pick or probably even 2. The Mavericks just traded some first-round picks for Kristaps Porzingis, so they might not be able to make this happen because of the Stepien rule. I'm not entirely sure how it works. For the Detroit Pistons, Luke Kennard, Bruce Brown, Sekou Doumbouya, and to make the salaries work, Reggie Jackson, Langston Galloway, and Tony Snell. And the Pistons would probably have to get a player or 2 from OKC as well because that's a lot of players moved. I actually would make this trade if I was the Pistons. I don't think you lose too much, and they're already fucked salary-wise, so might as well lean into it and at least make some upgrades. And for OKC, Luke Kennard is solid, Bruce Brown showed some potential and is only 22, and Sekou Doumbouya was the Giannis of this draft. Not in terms of talent or expectation, just in terms of what both were coming into the draft. Both were raw talents who were really athletic and lengthy. A raw potential combo forward, basically. For the Spurs, either DeJounte Murray or Derek White, and Luka Semantic, and a first for Russ. If there is any coach in the league that can teach Russell Westbrook the right way to win, it's Greg Popovich. If I'm OKC, I push for White over Murray because of 1, the injury, and 2, the shooting. Next are the final 2 teams, and they are the best teams for Russell Westbrook. Those teams would be the Orlando Magic and the Miami Heat. Orlando can send the best player out of anyone that I've mentioned, and that is Aaron Gordon. because he is replaceable because of Jonathan Isaac, who is way better as a power forward than a small forward, and they can send Mo Bamba as well. I think you could try to do Fultz, Bamba, and Birch instead, but they'd also have to get back Terrence Ross and Evan Fournier, which means the Magic would basically have no shooting guard, and you'd also have to throw in first if you're not moving Gordon. For OKC, Gordon is the best player you can get, and Bamba is the second best prospect behind Sekou. So from OKC's perspective, I think Orlando is the second best trade partner. But for Russ, I think he would rather play for the Miami Heat, who can send Justice Winslow and either Bam Adebayo or Tyler Herro to the Thunder. If I'm the Thunder, I'm making damn sure that Justice Winslow is in this trade. I personally believe a lot in this guy as a point forward and potential elite defender. Bam Adebayo is basically like a diet Dwight Howard or like a Tyson Chandler type, but I think Tyler Herro has the biggest potential out of basically anybody on this team. I think he could end up being seen as the steal of this draft. Looking at his Summer League highlights and watching one of the games, he has the confidence and the IQ to be a very good player. I understand that the Summer League only says so much in terms of stats, however, I do think it is important for the eye test. And from what I've seen, Tyler Herro can become the Devin Booker of this draft. So because of that, if I'm OKC, I ask for Herro over Bam, even though I love Bam. I've been waiting for this dude to get the opportunity for a while. Dude's a beast, but while Bam is more of a sure thing, Herro has more potential. For OKC, they get a great point forward with some lockdown potential and overall potential. Dude's only 22, as well as a guard in Herro who has star potential, or Bam Adebayo who can be a solid starting big man. While I do think the Orlando Magic will be able to offer the better player, I think the Heat will be able to offer the better package. The potential of Herro and Justice is just enticing. For the Heat, I think the locker room with Russ and Jimmy Butler will be potentially bad, but I think adding Russ ensures this is a playoff team. I think he also asked for Jeremy Grant back from the Thunder, and the Thunder have to take back Ryan Anderson and Dion Waiters for salary reasons. But a starting lineup of Dragic, Russ, Butler, Grant, and Adebayo is a really good starting lineup, and they can certainly pass the Bulls in my playoff prediction. They would probably pass the Pistons and could be like even the 4th seed, I don't know. Assuming Westbrook and Butler don't tear each other's heads off. Let me know what you think of the trades. Check out the podcast when it comes out tomorrow, and that is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.